I read this book and the Daddy Long Leg, uh, page 38 after Chapter Thursday. My favorite book is Wandering Hate. Emily Bront was quite young when she wrote it and had never known any man outside her family. How could she imagine a man like Heathcliff? I'm quite young and never went outside the orphans, but I don't think that I could do it. Sometimes I feel that I'm not genius. Will you be very disappointed if I don't become a great writer? Love, Judy. May 27th, dear Daddy Long Leg. Mrs. Lippett wrote to ask if I have planned for the summer vacation. If not, she said I may come back to Darpons and stay there until college begin again. I hate Darpons. I'd rather die than go back there. May 29th. May 29th. Thank you for arranging for me to spend the summer at the farm. I've never been on the farm before, and I'm very excited. Forgive this brief letter. I'm in French class. Goodbye. I love you very much. May 8th, 3rd, May 13th. Today I met another Pendleton. He is Mr. Jerry Pendleton, Julia's uncle. Julia and Sally both had class, so Julia asked me to show him around the campus. He's tall and thin, and he has a funny smile that turns up the corner of his mouth. Funny smile that turns up the corner of his mouth. Turned up the corner of his mouth. I felt as if I'd known him forever. We walked all over the campus and had tea and ice cream and cake at the college cafe. But then he had to learn to catch his train. Julia was mad at me for taking up all his time. This morning, 3 boxes of chocolate came from him for Julia and Sally and me. Isn't that wonderful? I wish you'd come and have tea someday. June 9th. I've just finished my last examination and now I will have 3 months on the farm. I've never been on the farm in my life, but I'm going to love it. Look, Willow's farm Saturday night, dear Daddy Long Legs. I've just arrived at the farm. The house is at least 100 years old. The owners are Mr. and Mrs. Sample. I like them both. We had a huge supper, and all the food came from the farm. My room has a big square table in it. I'm going to spend the summer sitting there and writing a novel. It's 8:39, and I'm going to sleep. We rise at 5. Good night, Judy. Mrs. Sample told me that Mr. Jerry Pendleton used to own his farm. She was his nurse, and he gave the farm to her. Wow. Nurse? She called him Master Jarvie and said he was a sweet little boy. He used to own this farm. Wow, Master, Nurse. I started this letter to you yesterday. Then I went to pick some blackberry. When I came back, a real Daddy Long Leg was sitting on this letter. I gently picked him up and put him outside. I wouldn't hurt one because they always remind me of you. When I finish this letter, I'm going to read a book I found in the attic. The name is Jerry Pendleton. It's written on its first page in the little boy hat. I started this letter to you yesterday. Then I went to pick some blackberry. When I came back, a little Daddy Long Leg was sitting on this letter. I gently picked him up and put him outside. I wouldn't hurt one because they always remind me of you. When I finish this letter, I'm going to read the book I found in the attic. The name is Jerry Pendleton is written on its first page. On its first page in a little boy's hand. Dear Daddy, I've gained 9 pounds. I recommend Lock Willow as a health resort. Chapter 3 Sophomore. Dear Daddy Longleg, I'm a sophomore. I was sorry to leave Lock Willow, but glad to see the campus again. I'm rooming with Sally and Julia this year. We have a study and 3 little bedrooms. Jerusha bought from the orphanage is rooming with Pendleton. This is a democratic country. This is a democratic country. Sally is running for class president, and I'm sure she will be elected. You are in politics, J. Judy Abbott. Sally is running for class president, and I'm sure she will be elected. This is a democratic country. Democratic country. McBride forever. Dear Daddy Longleg, October 17th. Did I tell you about the election? It happened 3 weeks ago. Sally was elected and we had a parade with placards saying McBride forever. Loom 258 is a very important place and it makes Julia and me important people too. Good night, dear Daddy. November 12th. Sally has invited me to spend the Christmas vacation with her. The McBride have 3 children, a grandmother and a cat. It is perfectly complete family. Dear Daddy Longleg, thank you so much for the check you sent me for Christmas. I'm enjoying my vacation at Sally's. I never dreamed the family could be so nice. They gave a dance for me. I wore a new white evening gown that I bought with your check. And I danced with Sally's good-looking older brother, Jimmy, who is a junior princeton. Sally McBride, dear Daddy. Back at college, Julia's uncle came today and had tea with us. I told him that I spent last summer at Lock Willow. He remembered everything about the farm. And I called him Mr. Jarvie and he didn't seem to mind. Do you know that I once ran away from the orphanage? They hit me when I took some biscuit from the kitchen and they told the other children I was a thief. How could I run away? I only ran for miles and then they caught me and brought me back to the orphanage. For the next week I was tied to a pole whenever we were outside. There were the bells. I must go. I will write a more cheerful letter next time. Jimmy McBride sent me a Princeton banner. It is as big as one wall of the room. I haven't told you lately. Tell you what I'm learning. But I do spend most of my time studying. Exams are next week, but I'm not afraid. Yours ever, Judy. Dear Longleg, have you read Hamlet? Isn't Shakespeare a great writer? Ever since I learned to read, I've gone to sleep pretending to be a character in a book. To sleep pretending. Today I'm Opelius, but I'm sensible and I make Hamlet happy. We learn and mark together. He makes a law and I'm setting up some excellent orphanage. Oh, I passed my old exam. Dear Daddy Longneck, I won school annual short story contest and a $25 prize, so maybe I'm going to be a writer after all. Julie and Sally and I are going to New York next Friday to do some shopping. We will go to theater the next day with Master Jarvie to see Hamlet. I'm so excited. Dear Daddy Longneck, April 7th. Is New York big? I suppose you know it ever since you live there. But aren't the streets interesting? And the people and the shop? Julia went shopping for a hat. Sally and I went with her. How wonderful to buy any hat you want without caring about the price. Then we met Master Jarvie and had lunch in a wonderful restaurant before we went to the theater. Hamlet is so much better on the stage than in class. I think I'd rather be an actress than a writer. Would you mind? Master Jarvie gave us each a gorgeous bunch of flowers. He is so sweet. I never cared much for men. But I'm changing my mind. Here's your check for $50. Thank you very much, but I can't keep it. My pocket money is enough to afford all the hat I need. I wasn't begging. Will you please forgive me for the letter I wrote to you yesterday? I'm sorry if I seem ungrateful, but I had to return your check. Other girls have a family that give them things, but I live on your charity. I can't accept any more than I need, because someday I want to pay back. I thank you, Rach, for this new life that you have given me.